Hello, fellow Druid Nation. I hope you're all hyped for the new season coming out. We have made major changes to the Druid and other classes, so I decided to make a quick video summary of the known changes to the Druid. This goes at least what we know till now, and my take on that, what I believe will be the strongest play, or what's going to be good or bad at least. And here a quick shout out to Jessi for the video he posted with the new information we gained. I'll link his video below. Be sure to like and follow that. So the first thing I want to talk about is the general changes to the Druid, the way we played, why the Druid was one of the strongest classes, actually like just behind the Paladin. That pay-to-win class which took our spotlight the last seasons. The reason is just simple, it's Overpower. Before the Pulverize, we had the Cataclysm, which was quite strong for a few seasons, because of Provocation, or if it was the runes, we were overpowering our Cataclysm. And on top of that, we were critting those overpower damages with crit damage. So we had we're hitting for billions and trillions. Then we got the Rotting Nightbringer, which was overpowering all our puddles with a X600 and splashing the damage on the other puddles with a X60. So we were doing also trillions in the last season with the Pulverize. So the changes to the system of Overpower is now Overpower used to, at least how it used to work. We were having our base damage multiplied by a 1.5 multiplier, multiplied with our additive damage, which in some cases were like 300, 3,000, 4,000 Overpower damage, plus multipliers. For example, on the Druid, we had itself for example, we had the Orison Strength, which was also giving us a X100 Overpower. The Life and Fortify changes to Overpower the first few seasons ago, so we're not going into it, but we still had a lot of multipliers. Also, we were critting our Overpowers with Grizzly Rage, like 150% critical damage on each Overpower hit, so we're doing like really huge numbers. This is completely changed now with the new season. Overpower is now working in a different way. Overpower is now an additive 15% damage, but the whole style of Overpower is different. You stack now Overpowers, and some skills eat those Overpower stacks, giving you a bonus. In this case, this is from a Necro. You can see there's like a 50%. I don't know if it's additive or multiplicative damage. We don't know that. I mean, the tooltip doesn't really say it. But if you consume your Bloodlands, for example, consumes 2 stacks of Overpower, and then your Bloodlands does 50% more damage. If this is additive, it's really awful. I hope at least it's meant to be multiplicative. We don't know at this point. And so yeah, see, this is the change to Overpower. So Overpower will not be, at least the way we used to play, overpowering every hit. Where, for example, with the Rotting Nightbringer, how it used to work, making our puddles so strong, or Pulvers and puddles so strong. Now there are skills which consume the Overpower, giving you bonuses, and I actually hope that there's still a way we can snapshot these into Cataclysm. And we also see that, we don't know about that yet. So these are like the base changes to the Overpower system, how it worked. And the other big changes to the Druid is we are now able to choose the form a skill is counted as. For example, you can see Petrifiers are either Werber or human form, or for example, Cataclysm is Werewolf or human form now. Obviously, you can profit from different bonuses. At least till now, we always had the passives, so we gotta see how that actually works with the new season. But as you can see, for example, and we have a lot of like just general multipliers, for example, like Catastrophe and stuff that were just in any form you were, that were going, at least for the human form, to my knowledge, we only had the humanity. And for example, for Werewolf, we had Toxic Claw, we had Quick Shift for Werber. Further, you also had Mending, which was a huge toughness gain. Also, you had Iron Fur. So these were like a lot of, also, for example, Dignity is great. So we had some really buffs around Werber and Werewolf, which we do not have in human form. I mean, all the passives are gone, so like this doesn't count anymore. But at least if you go to legendary nodes on the Paragons, for the Werewolf, we have lots of Carnage, which is still a 1.7 multiplier, and on the Werber, we had Survival Instincts. So these are type legendary nodes we do not have for the human. I mean, most other nodes are mostly around the Earth skills, the Storm skills, Lightning skills. So that doesn't really matter, but at least we had like 2 nodes which were solo for that form, which we don't really have that good one for a human form. So still hope at least Blizzard does their one change to make human form actually worth playing. And then further, we we've seen like Blizzard has tried to implement a lot of uniques and also passive skills into items, into uniques, or into sets. For example, it's not this one, it's probably the next one. Yeah, exactly. With the, for example, Claw now being a storm skill, somehow getting the greatest traffic clone into the skill tree itself. Still like not that good, but at least it counts as a storm skill. You can get some storm buffs on it. Those are like the changes Blizzard is trying to do. Further, I personally believe, like looking at, for example, this seal, that the crit damage might be the go-to play multiplier, best multipliers probably in the game, especially with Blizzard trying to somehow nerf the crit chances you get on the items. I believe crit damage might be the biggest multipliers. I mean, that will be the easiest way for them to just make it really easy balanceable. I somehow believe that's gonna be the most important thing in the game, crit damage being the biggest multiplier. And further, for example, we also have the changes to the gems. For example, we see the Emerald has a like now X 24% damage multiplier with the Rapid Beast. Is the, for example, if all our damage is getting into poison damage, every damage you do is a poison damage. We still have that aspect in the game. With having 2 emeralds in your weapon, you're getting almost a 1.5 multiplier, and all the damage you're doing at the end with the poison damage stacking up. So we gotta see if the Rapid Beast is still in there, or that maybe becomes a talisman. So I personally believe, or like at least that's what we're expecting, not believing, is expecting, all these passives we gain at the end they're like all huge. These like are gonna be set items probably on the Druid. So with the Best of Rampage and all these, I probably believe these will all be set items. Further, we got like a new insight into at least 2 uniques from the Druid. We have Fury of the Wild. This gives us Berserking. I believe there's still other ways to get Berserking, so I don't know if you really want to play this ring for getting Berserking. But the interesting thing is the Ferocity. So Ferocity is going to be a set item for the Druid, for sure. It's going to be set. So till now we know like the Ferocity gives us a 75%, so 1.75% crit damage multiplier. So as you can see, there are a lot of crit damage multipliers right now, even if you look at the Warlock and also looking at the Talisman and sets. So we gotta see how these stacks and Ferocity work. If you're like getting 8 stacks of Ferocity and each gives us like 10% more multiplicative damage, that would be actually quite huge. Actually, I believe the numbers will be pumped really high because of Torment 12. I do think we're gonna see around like 200 or 300 Ferocity X Werewolf damage. So I believe Ferocity, at least Werewolf is probably gonna be the strongest DPS in the game you're gonna get, the way I'm looking at the items. And with the whole changes to Overpower, Pulverize will probably not be the strongest build. I mean, I can't believe Blizzard is gonna make us play another season Overpower. So with the changes to Rotting Lightbringer, I believe, for example, if you look at the Rotting Lightbringer, this whole Overpower thing is gonna go. I believe Blizzard is just the way Blizzard is. They're gonna cut the 600 damage to like 300 or something, and also change the puddles pulling splashing each other also to the half. So probably like something like 150 to 300 and 10 to like 30 or 20 or something like that. Especially with the overpower gone, you're not overpowering every hit. So like probably I think Lightbringer is probably dead. Pulverize probably, I can still see one way Pulverize work. That's for bossing, for example. If you go back again to the Necro skill, if you have a skill like that for Overpower, like if you, or other skill you do before you Pulverize, which gives you, for example, eat 3 stacks of Overpower and get like an X500 multiplier once every 10 seconds. I can see Pulverize being a really good build to one-shot bosses for bossing. I think that's still going to be viable, Pulverize for bossing. But the way I think Blizzard will nerf, I mean, with the nerfs to Overpower, I don't see Pulverize being the strongest build for Torment 12 stuff content besides bosses, maybe. And then further, we also got this new unique Green Walker Signatus again, showing Blizzard trying to put some of our passives into unique items. This is Nature's Fury, changed a little bit. It's nerfed even harder. Nature's Fury itself had a 40% chance. I don't remember Nature's Fury being a relevant path in the last seasons for a long time. It's always a fun build to play, but Nature's Fury is just like, it's fun. It's not really strong. It's nerfed from 40 to 15%, giving you human additional 1 human skill, and it's giving you 40 multiplier, like 1.4, like 1.5. I don't see this really being relevant. Maybe some C tier build guy that's gonna do this as a fun build. I'm calling the best build, but I don't think this is a really good item. So further, we have some changes in Mythics we saw, at least regarding the Druid, the Herald Edition. I mean, this is probably all those snapshot explorers gonna be happy when they see this. They can now stack 20 stacks of 1.8 multipliers. It's gonna be really fun next season. So yeah, I mean, all those explorers are gonna be happy about this change. You can also see the crit chance is nerfed really hard, so I do believe crit damage is a play. Because like Blizzard is just nerfing crit chance everywhere, making it for you to concentrate on getting crit chance. Further, we have the Starless Sky, same thing here. It's staying the same way. And I don't want people are saying this tempering. I don't think this tempering. This is looking like the sanctification we used to have. So I believe that's like the base sanctifications we're getting. Further, we have the Shadowfall Death. The item is peace. At the end, this item might be playable in hardcore. It's like a cheat death item. But on the other side, I don't know how many items we had which would prevent us from being one-shotted in D4, and so we get one-shotted with all the weird mechanisms in the game. I think I consider this item more than that. Exactly like this item. They're like really both dead. And yeah, the damage reduction. Yeah, the item, no one's gonna play this item. So yeah, those are changes. I believe leveling for Druid is still gonna be companions. You probably want to get this type of set charm quite early in the game. You hope to get it. This is like a huge damage buff. You can see like 10% bonus per kill experience, also 50% bonus kill experience, and at level 70 plus 5%. So I believe this is the leveling path. And on the other side, I believe the endgame for Druid will be pulverized bossing. I'm pretty sure about that. Take a grain of salt. I think Storm Scales Werewolf is gonna be the strongest DPS. We gotta see how much toughness we have on Werewolf. There's a problem with the Werewolf. You're like, we have good DPS. I mean, we had before like puddles and everything. Werewolf was always a good DPS way to go, but just lacked toughness. So it was not really end game for pushing. At least I'm talking about pushing tower and pits. But I believe it should be good enough for doing all the Torment 12 stuff. So yeah, that's a quick summary of what I've seen till now leaking for the Druid and my take on the Druid. As I said, it's not really much known. This is what I believe. I might be wrong. So we will see probably next days. I hope there's going to be a pre-release and pre-download of the patch so we get the first data mine and we might actually look into builds and what we can play. So yeah, thanks for watching and I hope you're all hyped for the next season and keep blasting.